On today's show, the Phoenix Suns defeat the San Antonio Spurs 112-102 in a game that, if you asked me before the beginning of the season what the perfect Phoenix Suns win would look like, I would tell you it'd look like this. What do I mean by that? Let's talk about that and dissect this game much more on Locked On Phoenix Suns.
You are Locked On Suns, your daily Phoenix Suns podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, and welcome in to Locked On Phoenix Suns. My name is Benjamin Garcia, host of The Ben Garcia Show. Monday, Wednesday, Fridays at 8 a.m. on YouTube. Yes, tomorrow, 8 a.m. on YouTube, breaking down all things Valley sports to you in the morning, as well as a credentialed Phoenix Suns media member covering your Phoenix Suns 365 days out of the calendar year. That's why we call it your team every day here at the Locked On Podcast Network, Planet Earth's #1 podcast network. Wherever you may be listening, however you may be listening, thank you so much for making this show a part of your day. Remember, Locked On Phoenix Suns is free and available on all platforms, including YouTube. So hit that follow or subscribe button to do what thousands of Suns fans have already done. Become an everyday and get locked on the Phoenix Suns right here each and every day. Wow, man. How many times do I have to start the show off with wow? Because if I'm being completely honest with you guys, I never gave up in this game. Like, I gave up in the Minnesota Timberwolves game on Friday, where we did a show post-game here from Mortgage Matchup Center. And I told you guys, when the Suns played the Wolves and they got down 8 points, 7 points in the last 50 seconds of this game, I made my way down to the floor because I said to myself, and it was going to be a mostly positive show, like, hey, despite not having Allen, despite not having Green, despite Devin Booker fouling out, despite Dillon Brooks fouling out, the Suns hung with the Timberwolves all game long. So if that's the case, then why should I be going after the Suns? It's overall a good thing. If Devin Booker plays slightly better, then we're talking about the Suns beating this team outright. And I gave up on that there. Now, I gave up on the Suns there because of the fact that it was just seemed like an insurmountable lead, and they figured out they won this game, or they won that game. And then tonight, it's so strange, man. Every time I think that this team has met its match, or it's just not their night, and I have thought it might just not be their night thing a few different times this year. I never gave up. I've always talked about the games being winnable. The only game I ever really gave up on was late with a minute left to go against the Timberwolves game, and I saw a lot of people do the same thing. I didn't think that in this game. But I got to tell you, it felt like in the first half, the Phoenix Suns just kind of met their match. And here's why. Obviously, we knew pregame. We knew this actually like almost a week ago. There'd be no Stephon Castle. There'd be no Victor Wembanyama. And so when that happens, you kind of just, as a human being, assume you're going to walk in and beat this team. But here's the thing when it comes to that. You can't walk it, even if you're an elite team. I would argue teams that are down a bunch of players can actually be more dangerous because players are playing that would then more likely not have played had Stephon Castle, had Victor Wembanyama not play in this game. Now, when players go out in the middle of games, it's kind of different, right? It's spur of the moment. The Spurs knew this was going to happen. So players are playing their asses off knowing that this might be the only chance they get. And so immediately, out of the jump, in the first half, this San Antonio Spurs team outscored the Suns 30-25, outscored the Suns 26-24 going into halftime with a 7-point lead. And I said to myself, the game's not over yet, but the Suns, if they're going to be this gritty, do-it-all, play 48 minutes a night game team that's just going to suffocate you defensively and I guess just hit every tough bucket, you have to do that all the time. It cannot be selective. And it felt like tonight it was a little selective. Now, the Spurs being down a couple of guys helps, but the Suns have to understand, like any good team, any great team, this is not specific to the Suns, have to understand that when teams don't have their star players, players know coming into this game, like the San Antonio Spurs are, who are maybe getting their spot to play that maybe wouldn't before, A, are going to play with their hair on fire because they want to continue to play in these games, or B, know that everyone's got to pick up the slack and everyone's got to play with 150% effort for our chance to win this game. And that's what happened in the first quarter. So that's the one bad thing in this game, is for the Suns in the first half, and I meant to say first half a second ago, but in the first half, the Suns played like a team that knew they were better than the Spurs because the Spurs didn't have Victor Wembanyama and Stephon Castle, because they said to themselves, we beat this team with those two players. We're the only team to put Victor Wembanyama in a straitjacket. We're the only team to do that. So the Suns came into this game, I'm assuming, this is how I think I would approach it, thinking no Stephon Castle, no Victor Wembanyama, we are going to run through this team. But that didn't happen. And that goes to my point of, you can't be a 48-minute-a-night, step on all gas, no brakes team, step on the throat of teams, suffocating defense, do all the little things. That sort of identity is great, but you can't take an off night. It's why it's probably not sustainable with this group to win a championship with, because it's kind of the same mantra or motto that the New York Knicks have played with for the last couple years. We're going to play 50 minutes a night. I know there's 48 minutes in a game, being facetious. We're going to play 48 minutes a night. We're going to dive on the floor for every loose ball. We're going to play balls to the wall defense. We're going to do all the little things, but at 150% more harder than you are. And that's what's going to win us games. And it works in the regular season. I'm not saying it won't work in the playoffs as well, but it's a little bit harder to do in the playoffs on a consistent night in, night out basis because everyone's playing like that. It's why we're talking about the Suns, spoiler alert for later segments. Man, are they just a full-on playoff team? Not a championship winning team. And that's totally okay. That's not what the Suns are. But the Suns have to understand that they got to play like that for all 48 minutes. But credit to this team and credit to Jordan Ott, who I didn't think, again, had an awesome game. I don't think he had a terrible game at all. I think there was a couple of points in it that I didn't think were great. But they went into the third quarter similarly, like in the Sacramento Kings game or in previous games before where they go down at the half and they come out winning this game. They went into the half, made some adjustments, played with a little bit more pace, got to the foul line, and thankfully players like Dillon Brooks and Devin Booker woke up a little bit. And that is what's going to carry this team. And that's what happened tonight. Were you ever worried that the Suns were going to lose? Not really. It was more so did the Suns meet their match? And that is what continuously they continue to prove wrong. I know that this team is good. I just don't know how good they are now. Like, we're not talking about later on them being a play-in team. You keep beating teams like this night in and night out, just suffocating, it is going to continue to lead to wins that potentially make you a playoff team. And that's why I say at the beginning of the show, this would have been the perfect Phoenix Suns win until expectations changed a little bit. And I say that because at the beginning of the season, when we thought this team was an under five, well, when I can't lump us all into that. When I thought this team was going to be an under 500 team, and they, I don't know, they still might be, I doubt it to this point, but let's just say that, leave everything open for the sake of conversation. At the beginning of the season, I would have said this team was a little below 500 team, 39-43, hovering around 41-41. And you would have said to me, Ben, what is the perfect Phoenix Suns win? And I would have pointed to this game and said, this is the perfect Phoenix Suns win. But the only reason why it's kind of not that way is because they're missing like half of their players. There's no Ryan Dunn. There's no Rasheer Fleming. There's no Grayson Allen. There's no Jalen Green. And yet they're still winning games, which makes everything even more impressive. Like, it almost takes the last 8 minutes of things I've said, crumple it up and throw it in the garbage can, because just because the Spurs were missing players, and they were, the Suns were also missing players. The Suns started Jordan Goodwin in this game, more on him in a moment, who continues to be a revolution for this team. Grabbing loose boards, getting cheap buckets. The very first bucket of this game was on an offensive rebound Jordan Goodwin bucket. So, if we were taught, this is what would have been, this is what we would have been talking about had the Sun season not gone the way it's gone. If they didn't already have 11 wins. we'd be saying, yeah, this is exactly what it looks like. Suffocating defensively. If I remember correctly, the San Antonio Spurs shot horrific in this game. It was like sub 40%, 42% from the field, 29% from three. They suffocated the opposing team defensively, and it carried them offensively. Meaning, yes, Devin Booker wasn't amazing in this game, but he woke up late, hit a couple of big buckets. Dillon Brooks wasn't great in this game, 8 for 20 from the field, but he made some big buckets late. And of course, Colin Gillespie, Steve Nash 2.0 to this point in the season, he as well hit big buckets. And so despite not having 4 of your top, or I guess I should say 3 of your top, 6 players, 4 of your top 12 players, and getting outshot from the free throw line by nearly 20 shots, and you still figured out a way to win this game. And that was by leaning back on your culture defensively, forcing 19 turnovers in this game. You took care of the basketball, only 6 turnovers. You got late buckets from Dillon Brooks and Devin Booker offensively, and you suffocated the opposing team defensively. It's exactly what we would have talked about had this Suns season not gone as great as it's going right now. We would have said this is the perfect Phoenix Suns win. But the problem is they're way better than that. And that's not the perfect Phoenix Suns victory anymore. The perfect Phoenix Suns victory is what we've seen over the last week, which is get up by 18-plus points, protect the lead, win the game. That's what it's been. But, hey, credit to this team that can continue to go back to their roots defensively and force those turnovers against the San Antonio Spurs and come out on top and win this game. Let's talk about Dillon Brooks. Let's talk about a couple of different players. And then the final segment, I want to talk about these Suns' expectations, because I told you we were going to have comfortable conversations about the Phoenix Suns. But first, let's get over to our guys, Dillon Brooks, Devin Booker, and some stars of the night, Colin Gillespie, and of course, Jordan Goodwin. And we'll do that next. First, today's show is brought to you by Gusto. Let's be real. No one starts a business for the joy of calculating tax withholdings or managing payroll spreadsheets. That's where Gusto comes in. To take the stress out of your payroll, benefits, and HR so you can focus on running your business and supporting your team. Gusto is the all-in-one remote-friendly payroll and HR platform that makes managing your team simple, transparent, and fast. Whether you're hiring, onboarding, or paying employees, Gusto helps you do it all from one place without the hassle or hidden fees. Unlimited payroll runs for one monthly price, which means no surprise charges at the end of the month. Gusto's automated tools like offer letters, onboarding materials, and direct deposits save business owners hours every single week. Try Gusto today at gusto.com/LockedOnNBA and get 3 months free when you run your first payroll. That's right, 3 months of free payroll at gusto.com/LockedOnNBA. One more time, that's gusto.com/LockedOnNBA. Today's episode is also brought to you by Wayfair. The holiday season is right around the corner. It's Thanksgiving this week. Wild. It's already Thanksgiving. And that means it's time to get your home ready. Whether you need more seating for guests, cozy new linens, or fun serveware for holiday hosting, Wayfair's Black Friday sale is here to help you. Is here to help you make your space shine. And the best part, you don't have to wait. Wayfair's Black Friday deals are happening all month long with up to 70% off everything from sofas to spatulas. Listen, I just bought a house. I recently upgraded a few different things. Got a few different kitchen decor. These are things that Wayfair helps us get ready for the holiday season, have people over for Thanksgiving, have some friends over during Christmas, and they can say, hey, listen, this stuff, your decor looks great. So don't miss out on early Black Friday deals. Head to Wayfair.com now to shop Wayfair's Black Friday sale for up to 70% off. That's WAYFAIR.com. Sale ends December 7th. let's dive deep into the two best, let's call it what it is, the two best players on the Phoenix Suns right now as currently constructed, because there's been injuries, Devin Booker and Dillon Brooks. Okay, so some of you didn't love my analysis on Devin Booker Friday night. Again, I read all the comments, and I appreciate all you guys bring him in. Most of you didn't mind, but some of you didn't. And it was almost seen as if, like, I'm dogging on Devin Booker. You can love someone, you can appreciate someone, but also be like, hey, man, this is not a great part of you. Let's try to figure out this together. It's one of the reasons why I love my wife. Listen, oftentimes she'll tell me, hey, you're awesome, you're great, I love you. Sometimes you talk too much. Sometimes you give an opinion that no one asked for. And I'd think to myself, yeah, that's obviously right. You probably shouldn't do that. Let's be smarter. Don't overshare so much. Sometimes that can be me. With Devin Booker, I think it's fair to break out some of his negatives, which aren't much. He's a borderline superstar player. I know everyone has different ideas of what they think a superstar is. I think Devin Booker is a borderline superstar player. He's better than a star. He's not quite a superstar. He's in that weird limbo, right? And I mentioned to you guys, like, this isn't like a victory lap take. One of the things that I mentioned on Thursday night's show before they played the Minnesota Timberwolves was, well, it would be great if Jaden McDaniels didn't play in this game, because Devin Booker struggles with Jaden McDaniels in particular, but those big, lengthy, strong wings. And the Spurs also have one of those guys in Jeremy Sochan and a little bit of Devin Vassell, but I would argue Jeremy Sochan's a better defender than Devin Vassell. And again, with all the great things about Devin Booker, one of the best ISO players in the NBA, a plus this year defensively, always in the right spot, a borderline superstar player, should absolutely be an all-star this year, a top 15 player in the NBA. One of the things that holds him back from what I believe being someone that can put you on their shoulders and say, I will carry you to a championship, a la Giannis Antetokounmpo, a la Luka Doncic, LeBron James in his prime, is the fact that Booker is not a small player, but he's a smaller player. And outside of players like Steph Curry, the smaller players aren't really dominating the NBA. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is, who's a bigger player, bigger guard. Luka Doncic is, bigger player, bigger, like even bulkier player. LeBron James, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Nikola Jokic. Those are the types of players winning championships as ones. Devin Booker can win a championship. He's a championship-level player. But there is a trend with Booker, and it's what I pointed out to you guys on Friday. And again, it's just something to monitor so that you know, as a Suns fan, like, yeah, this is going to happen. This is how the Suns could scheme it out and win games. And that's what they did against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Jaden McDaniels ate Devin Booker's lunch, and so did Naz Reid. And I think the Anthony Edwards, we're getting off topic here because the Spurs game just happened, but it did happen a bit tonight. But, that game, they have Naz Reid, who they can switch off of. Jaden McDaniels gets picked off Devin Booker. The Spurs have a player in Jeremy Sochan who's a fairly good defender, but has gotten in the face of Devin Booker before. I don't think he is nearly the defender as Jaden McDaniels, and I don't think he gets under the skin of Devin Booker. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it's a little bit of a trend. And Booker tonight struggled at the beginning, and I think he recovered really, really well. Again, this is not a diss of Devin Booker. This is the one flaw with Booker. One flaw out of a million great things. That's it. And so I really like the response that we got from Devin Booker tonight. Didn't play very, very well. Didn't play super well against San Antonio Spurs. For the first half of this game was a little non-existent. But in the second half, he came alive. And that's when the Suns made their run. That's when the Suns took over this game. So what does that tell you? This team goes as Devin Booker goes. Wow, what a crazy big take. No, It's just telling you that this team desperately needs Devin Booker to continuously be top 7 in MVP voting Devin Booker this season. And when they don't, especially when they're out a couple of guys, shots are going to be hard to come by. And so you saw that today. At halftime against the Spurs, they were down 7 points because Booker wasn't being Booker. But Jordan Ott, Devin Booker collectively were able to kind of scheme some things open. Devin Booker, who is shooting horrendously from 3 this year, but we knew that. He's not a great three-point shooter. Shot 2 for 6. Got to the free throw line a lot. Like, that's a big thing that I think Devin Booker has improved on. When his shot isn't falling, getting to the rim, getting fouled, drawing fouls, getting to the line, I believe that helps him, see one go in, get his form right, score a couple of buckets. And, that's what you saw tonight from Booker. And, that's what you need to see from your superstar, your borderline superstar player. So, again, it's not about how you start, it's about how you finish. I thought Devin Booker finished awesome in this game. Quickly on Dillon Brooks, because I'm running out of time here in this segment. You got a little bit of the bad from Dillon Brooks tonight. And what I mean by that is you saw some of the good with Brooks defensively, which is always going to travel, but some of the bad offensively. Now, what do I mean by that? Let's talk about that much more. Talk about that and much more next. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you miss the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. So let's close out the show. I want to talk about Colin Gillespie, Dillon Brooks, and then we'll talk about some expectation stuff. Dillon Brooks, again, I mentioned this just a second ago. You will always get some good with Dillon Brooks, some really concrete, great stuff. But I thought, and that is mostly on the defensive side of the ball, and obviously a lot from 3 for most of the season. This is not a slight on Dillon Brooks, but this is a little bit of the Dillon Brooks experience. This, I thought, was Dillon Brooks' worst game of the season, and I still thought he was pretty good. 8 for 20 from the field. And what do you want me to do? I don't want to go in on Brooks. So what? He had one not amazing game out of 17 or 15 amazing games this year. I don't want to get in on it. But you saw a little bit of the Dillon Brooks experience tonight, where offensively he was maybe taking shots that he probably shouldn't have taken. But are you going to kill him for that? No, because he's been hitting those shots all year long. So Dillon Brooks, you kind of got the best of both worlds tonight. You got Dillon the villain and then Dillon the menace on offense, where a couple of his buckets tonight, he shot the ball and you kind of scratched your head and said, what are you doing? And then you remember, well, he's been making those shots all year. So you're going to live with one not great outing shooting the basketball, 8 for 20 from the field. 10 for 24 from the field. At the time when I saw it was 8 for 20, it's 10 for 24 now. You're gonna live with a not so great shooting night, especially when he's got so much pressure on it. Where there's no Jalen Green, there's no Grayson Allen. He has to share a lot of the offensive workload. And when Jalen Green comes back and when Grayson Allen comes back, that won't be the case anymore. So Dillon Brooks offensively, yeah, were there some things that I didn't love? Sure. But defensively, he's such a plus, and his mentality, his mindset, his leadership, you're just going to live with the one off night out of 15. So that's my one thing on Dillon Brooks is really good defensively, so offensively. That'll probably get better, especially tomorrow when he plays his former team, as well as Colin Gillespie. I'm running out of words to speak about Colin Gillespie. He is in the running right now for Sixth Man of the Year, clearly. Clearly. but he is more accurately in the running now of most improved player in the NBA. Like, I know you have Ryan Rollins, and you know, every year there's another player out there where you're going to talk about, them and going from, a former number 1 overall pick. Like, I think Cade Cunningham won most improved player one year, but Colin Gillespie it should no longer be in the running of like 6th man of the year conversation. Like, obviously, yes, but like, we know that should be a given. He should be in the running for most improved player. He has nearly doubled his points. He is shooting 41% from the field, 40% from 3, 81% from free throw. He's averaging 3 more assists a game than last year. He's averaging more rebounds from last year. When you talk about the most improved player in the NBA, it's what Colin Gillespie looks like. It's not a former number 1 overall pick, top 5 overall pick that finally figured it out. The award should go to someone who was undrafted, who was cut from the Denver Nuggets outright, who was picked up off the scrap heap by the Phoenix Suns, but has now turned into a quality rotational piece and the front runner for 6th man of the year. He has been amazing for this team, because in games like tonight where Devin Booker and Dillon Brooks aren't shooting amazing from the field, they're struggling a little bit, especially in the first half, he is the offensive creator that at times, at too many points in this season, the Suns have asked him, hey, you got to carry us. The Suns went on multiple runs in this game when Devin Booker was also on the bench, so that when Booker comes back in this game, he's rested, and then he goes on his heater and really takes this game over. I don't know what to say anymore about Colin Gillespie. I have just been so impressed with him, not as just a 6th man of the year player, but he has outright earned the honors of being the NBA's most improved player so far. And it's just, I don't know, man. I'm just really impressed with everything that we're seeing with Colin Gillespie. We'll get deeper into this later in the week, but I promise you guys I talk about this at least a little bit. When do expectations truly get raised for the Phoenix Suns? Because they have 11 wins through their first 16 games of the season. Let me make sure that's right. I keep saying 16. It might be 17 games this year. Suns are 11-7. Sue me. They played 17 games this year. Whatever. The Suns are 11-6 through their first 17 games of the season. Even the most optimistic Suns fan would not have predicted this. They wouldn't have. And if they told you they would have, they were A, lying to you, or being a little hyperbolic on their season-long predictions. But we shouldn't just say this team has expectations of a play-in team to make us feel better and so that they don't hurt our feelings. The status of a healthy team, the description of a healthy team and a healthy organization are healthy expectations. And I've been holding off on this, and maybe I'll hold off on it for just a little while longer. I predicted them to be the 9th seed. I predicted them to play a play-in team. Most people predicted them to be a play-in team. They're 11-6. They've got the tiebreaker right now on the Clippers, on the Spurs, on the Timberwolves. And they just keep winning games. I won't say right now that the expectations have raised for the Phoenix Suns to just be an outright playoff team and not a play-in team, because I don't want to be so wishy-washy. But they are on the cusp of just being an outright playoff contending expectations team and being a really scary out for the 4 or 3 seed. Meaning, the Suns might not win their first round of the playoffs. And I know, right? It's November and I'm talking about playoffs. Bear with me here. They're going to take a team 6 or 7. And maybe they don't have the superstar power to get through those rounds, but there's a lot of similarities to this 2021 Suns team. I'm sorry. There's a lot of similarities to this 2025 Suns team and the 2021 Suns team. If they had one more piece on this team, one more co-star alongside Devin Booker, maybe it's Jalen Green, maybe not. Let's just do the thought exercise. How close are they to being a Western Conference Finals contender? Like, that's where expectations are. Devin Booker, for the most part of the season, has been awesome. Dillon Brooks has been awesome. They don't even have half their team, guys. What are they going to look like when they get healthy? It's just food for thought that this team is quickly breaking through all predictions and expectations, and they're forcing you to raise expectations, which is the sign of a healthy team and organization. And don't be scared to raise the expectations because you're too scared that they might not meet them. I just wonder what it's going to be until we finally say, all right, playoffs are bust. And maybe, like, remember this was supposed to be the vaunted 12-game stretch? I don't know. They're 2-0 through it. They've got the Rockets tomorrow, and they're going to be missing a lot of guys. You know, I know we poke fun at the Kevin Durant rivalry thing, but, like, he's got a serious I don't know what it is, actually. I shouldn't say that. But he's got a family matter to attend to, and, like, you know, some things are just bigger than basketball. You know, we want to beat Kevin Durant on the basketball floor. That's where it is, and that's where it ends. But, like, you know, they're going to be out some guys tomorrow. And, like, you know, Kevin Durant, get you and your family right, man. Get everyone healthy. Get right mentally. Like, take care of your family always and forever. Real life always trumps sports. So as much as, like, it stinks that he's not going to be here tomorrow, because you wanted to have that fun rivalry, like, dude, go get your family right always and absolutely and forever. And, you know, that's what it should always be. Always take care of your family first. But, like, they're not going to have a lot of guys tomorrow. What if you win that game? What, then you jump the Rockets in the standings? Ah, man. This team is quickly raising expectations, and it couldn't be better. So, wild. Absolutely wild. The Kevin Durant reunion thing will have to wait. As, you know, obviously he's got to, and he should, you know, prayers to him and his family. Hope everyone is A-okay and he's back on the floor soon. And then, you know, when everything's okay and he's playing on the Rockets and, you know, all the real life family stuff is, you know, is all taken care of and hopefully everyone's okay, then we could talk about, you know, playing Kevin Durant for real, and, you know, we'll get here and it'll be a lot of fun, and we'll have to wait a little bit longer for that. We'll see how that looks. But, Suns got another game tomorrow, guys, and I feel good about it, and I think you should too. With that being said, guys, that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you so much for tuning in to Locked On Phoenix Suns. My name is Benjamin Garcia, host of the Ben Garcia Show. You can follow me on all social media platforms at Ben Garcia Show. Appreciate you guys doing that in bunches. We have a lot of fun on social media. You guys are freaking awesome, and I owe so much to you. So don't forget to like, share, subscribe, follow me on all social media platforms at Ben Garcia Show, and I will talk to you guys on, what are we at? It's Sunday already? I'll talk to you guys on Monday with John Voida. It'll be a John Voida Monday. Stay safe, guys.